Alright, that's it. I am calling it. Valve, you guys are the only ones who get to keep making zombie video games. Everybody else, find another monster. I hear vampires are pretty big right now. Listen, it's nothing personal, it's just that Valve has got this whole zombie thing completely locked down with Left 4 Dead 2. This is really a much improved and more robust version of the Undead Blastathon they put out, about this time last year. That is an important distinction to make. This is simply a better version of Left 4 Dead, so if you didn't cotton to the first game, the sequel probably won't really change your mind. But anyone who did develop a taste for brains last time around will find an absolute feast of new content and refinements here. In fact, the list of improvements and additions in this sequel is approximately a mile long. You've got 5 lengthy campaigns to the original game's 4, almost double the number of special infected with 3 new types of enemies, a whole bunch of new items and firearms, and for the first time, melee weapons. I cannot adequately stress the excellence of the melee weapons. You can kill zombies with chainsaws, with frying pans. You can kill them with guitars. Guitars! There are a ton of other minor refinements in here that you probably wouldn't really notice unless you played the first game to death, but all of them add up to a core action experience that feels more varied and satisfying than last time around.
Let's burn some shit up!
Valve's uncanny talent for establishing atmosphere and personality is also in full effect here. The game is marinated in Cajun flavor with a trek that takes you all the way from Savannah, Georgia to an utterly zombified New Orleans, with a ton of fantastic and tense moments in between. You'll be slaughtering undead on the bayou, in a southern plantation, in the requisite shopping mall, and in a rundown old industrial park that might not seem that interesting if it weren't for the furious thunderstorm that keeps you from seeing more than about 5 feet in front of your face. There's some really weird, wonderfully imaginative stuff in here. Now I know the die-hard Left 4 Dead fans among you are going to miss Lewis and Bill. Can't really blame you, but the cast in the sequel is just as memorable. Nick and Rochelle kind of play it pretty straight, but I have to give it up for the world-weary brawn of my man Coach.
I'm not a violent man, but I ain't stupid neither. Let's grab some weapons.
But the real standout here is Ellis, a southern fried chatterbox who would just love to tell you about that time his cousin Keith fell down a manhole. They come and pave right over that dang old thing, I tell you what.
I ever tell you about the time my buddy Keith and I were on the top of a burning building and we had to fight our way down like 5 floors of zombies? Wait a second. I guess that was you guys. Oh, shit, man. I can't wait to tell Keith about that one.
Just like last time, Valve has managed to weave a really tense but plausible tale of the zombie apocalypse with an absolute minimum of intrusive storytelling and a little bit of mirth on the side.
Oh, hey! Jimmy Gibbs!
I'm getting sick of looking at this guy's face.
Well, trust me, in these parts, he's as famous as Elvis. Or the president.
Really? Because he looks like an asshole.
Get your ass moving, Nick.
These campaigns are fantastic the first time you see them, and maybe the second, but despite the AI director's decent ability to randomize the enemy placement, I still didn't really feel the need to play through them cooperatively more than 2 or 3 times. And you will want to play them cooperatively. Left 4 Dead 2 is still not a game you want to play with strangers who don't know what they're doing. That way lies certain death. Luckily, the Versus mode is back too, and this time it works on all 5 of the campaigns straight out of the box. Versus is as much fun as it always was. Wait, no, actually, you know what? It's more fun. Mostly thanks to the Jockey, the Charger, and the Spitter, the 3 new special infected types. With the Spitter's area of effect attack and the Jockey and the Charger's unique ways of splitting up and redirecting the survivors, you can employ a whole lot of new strategies and find some ways to combine them with the abilities of the old favorites like the Boomer and the Tank. Versus is a great multiplayer experience, but it's still a big time commitment. You're going to need around 90 minutes to get through a whole campaign, so it's a good thing there are some new multiplayer modes in here that move a little more quickly. For one, you've got the survival mode that Valve patched into the original game, where you hole up somewhere and fend off a few waves of zombies until you inevitably get eaten alive a few minutes in. Then there's Scavenge mode, which might be the best thing about Left 4 Dead 2. It compresses the skill-driven intensity of Versus into matches on single maps that only last around 5 minutes per round. Scavenge is all about the survivors ferrying cans of gas back to a central generator to add a precious few more seconds onto a scant timer. Meanwhile, the infected players are doing everything in their power to throw them off and destroy the gas. Scavenge is an excellent way to condense the frantic strategy of Versus mode into more manageable bite-sized chunks. It also feels like the mode I'll be coming back to the most often now that I'm more or less done playing through the campaigns.
Oh yeah, cotton candy, the wise pharaoh of food. sitting atop the food pyramid, passing judgment on all the lesser foods.
To be perfectly honest, Left 4 Dead 2 really feels like the game that Valve should have shipped last year. It once again makes good on the unique core concepts of its predecessor, but this time with enough unique content to fully justify its retail price and also keep you gnawing on brains for a good long while. That is, unless Left 4 Dead 3 comes out this time next year.
My buddy Keith lived in a graveyard once for a whole year. It wasn't a dare or nothing, he just got kicked out of his house. He said he never saw a single ghost except this one time when a ghost stabbed him from behind and took all his money, and he might have just been a homeless guy because he had a robe on with two eyes cut out his face.